Hey guys and girls, welcome back to my channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Ashley and today is all about the 99J. Now this color here is literally the best color that complements brown skin. I love it so much. So today we're playing in this one here and it comes courtesy from YGwigs. They sent over a 24-inch water wave lace wig in this color. I'm absolutely pleased with her. You're going to see me slay her literally from start to finish. So here I am showing you the texture, the wave pattern, the hairline, and how nicely pre-plucked it is. Again, I'm pleased with this one. Look at the bounce in it with the curls. The definition is absolutely amazing. One thing I find a lot of times is when you have a curly or wavy wig, as you go in and customize the wig from the front to the back, you lose a lot of that wave pattern and it just kind of puffs up, frizzes up, you know what I'm talking about. But this one here I found kept its definition from start to finish. So normally I go in and I kind of speed things up. Even when I slow it down, I cut tons and tons out. I kind of want to do a series here on the channel where I go completely slow. I know how hard it is to follow along when things go a little bit fast. I'm definitely a visual learner, so I kind of feel like if I slow it completely down and pretty much keep it minimal with cutting out clips, you'll be able to grasp my concepts as best as possible. So as for starters, I went ahead and customized the wig around the ear. This way the wig will fit me perfectly. Now I want to go in and decide whether I want to go in and tweeze or not. Again, I told you before this one did come pre-plucked, but I do find that when wigs come pre-plucked, majority of the time it's more of a uniform pre-plucked. So even if it looks nice and it's not too dense in the front, it still has more of a boxy, unnatural look to it, if that makes sense. So I'm just going in and just making it look a little bit more scattered, a lot more like my own hairline, not doing way too much, but again just making it look a little bit more opened up and a little bit more imperfect. So when you brush everything backward, this is the result. As you guys can see, I didn't really go extreme. Again, it was already pre-plucked, but we just kind of made it look a little bit more thin and natural. So I'm taking an eyebrow razor, and these are my favorite. I picked them up from Amazon, so you know I have them linked in the description box. And I'm just going to take it, I'm going to go in piece by piece and create a little bit of a jagged hairline. The reason I want it to be jagged is kind of when you are in someone's face and you look at their lace, you can kind of see it go straight across if you cut straight across. But if it's a little bit more jagged, it'll help it to look a lot more melted. Even if you know it's a wig, you want it to look like a slayed wig and not just a boxy old, you know, fresh out of the pack Sally's Beauty Supply Store or your local beauty supply store lace wig. Now I'm ready to bond this one down, but before I do so, I'm going to go ahead and add powder to the inside. This is a foundation powder close to my skin tone, and what I do is I take a foundation brush and I just buff it on the inside. That way the lace blends with my complexion a lot better. This lace is pretty much like a white color on my complexion, so I don't know if you guys can see it here, but I kind of made it a little bit more brown. Now I didn't like buff it to an extreme, so it definitely still needs work, but every step counts when it comes to making your lace blend with your own complexion. Also, something that I get lazy with is customizing my sideburns. You got to go ahead and slick those down for them to be able to have your wig snatched. And also, if you use a got to be glued spray and you're already going to bond the wig down, that, got to be glue that you apply will help the process of making your ear tabs lay down on your lace. So today I'm taking an I think it's ORS spray, and I'm going to go ahead and apply that to my hairline, and this is going to act as my adhesive. If you're bonding your wig down, the adhesive is literally the most important part, so be sure to take your time. I feel like a blow dryer helps in the process of making sure that everything bonds down, and it definitely gives a tighter hold when you blow dry on a cool setting. So as you guys can see, I'm brushing the hair backwards, and I'm just finding different pieces where maybe I didn't apply enough adhesive. Again, those ear tabs usually are where it gets a little bit tough because typically they don't melt or lay down, right off the bat. So just take your time. Now, one pro tip is that whatever direction you want the hair to go in, when you apply your adhesive, as it dries, you kind of comb the hair in the direction you want it to go while the adhesive is drying on the other end, and it kind of will help the hair to pretty much train it to go in the direction you want it to go. Hopefully that makes sense. Now that everything is bonded down, we have our wig installed. Now it's time to style. So for me, I always style starting with the baby hair. If you're going to do a part, you can go ahead and part it as well. For me, I'm going to do baby hair from ear to ear. I've been doing this and enjoying it a lot lately, but I do know that this is not everyone's jam. So if it's not yours, just take a little bit of a wax stick. I'll have the one I love in the description box, and just pretty much go in and brush the hair backwards or in the direction you want it to go. Add a little bit of that wax stick and kind of, seal it in with maybe your hot comb, and you'll be good to go. For me, I'm kind of using a cheat, which is a pull method to kind of thin out the baby hair. I've separated more baby hair than what came with the wig, so I kind of want to thin it out so that it's not too thick and cakey in the front. And I do not recommend you pull at your lace the way I am doing. I personally have been doing this for years just because it is a lazy way to achieve, a nice natural slay without taking forever with the tweezers, especially because sometimes the tweezers start to hurt. When you kind of go at the tweezers at your hairline or your face, it starts to get really soft and tender in a way. But again, I do not recommend this because you can definitely pull a hole in your lace. Go ahead and tweeze it out until you get the desired look. But if you are brave, just know that there is a possibility of tearing a hole into your lace. Trust me, I've done it quite a few times, and there's no repair or no going back. So now when it comes to tearing off or cutting off baby hair, the rule of thumb for me is I like it to go right above the eyebrow, sometimes a little bit shorter, sometimes a little bit longer, but I kind of use my eyebrows as a guide. But if you are a newbie, I would recommend going right below the eyebrow. That way it's long enough that you don't feel like you cut it too short if your preference is different than mine. And then from there, you can kind of do your baby hair and gauge if it's too long and go back in and cut it shorter. What you don't want is to cut it short and then regret how short you cut it, and you really can't go back and change it. As you guys can see, I'm using a mousse, aka a foam lotion, to go ahead and swoop the baby hair. And I just take my time and I try not to get frustrated. The one thing I will say, especially if you're newbie, is if you're on a specific part of your install and you get frustrated, kind of do the best you can and come back to it. For example, with baby hair, I do find that especially when I was a beginner, it was super hard to get the swoops on point. But what you will learn is that when you swoop it and it's imperfect, just get it as good as you can. Put a scarf around it, allow it to dry. Sometimes you can blow dry it on a cool setting and then come back to it later, and you'll see that it's a lot easier once you begin to form it like with the scarf method. Hopefully that makes sense, but again, take a break, just tie it down, move on, and come back to it if it's not perfect. Even for me, now that I've done so many, I've literally installed hundreds of wigs here on YouTube, and I still am imperfect and I'm still learning, and I still get to a point where it's not coming out right. So again, I'll move on and come back to it after the install is done. Now, sideburn hair is tricky, especially for a newbie. For me, I've been doing this for years and I still don't always get it perfect. But when it comes to the length of the sideburns, if you want to keep that, I find that it's best to go above the ear. If you go below the ear, which sometimes I like, in the past I loved when it was a little bit longer, it kind of looks like, I don't know, a little bit funky. So kind of measure it to the bottom of your earlobe and let that be the length of it, and not necessarily much longer than that. If it's a little bit longer, that's okay. So I'm touching up the adhesive with a different spray. This one I will be reviewing for you guys in a coming video. But again, I went ahead and bonded the wig down. I went ahead and did the baby hair. I added a scarf on top, and now I'm blow drying it on a cool setting. The reason I have the scarf on top is because you can go ahead and the pressure or the air from the blow dryer can kind of move the style that you've created, whereas the scarf will kind of hold it and bond it down and help to make sure everything gets dry a little bit faster without being counterproductive and making everything fly away. So now we are getting somewhere. We're installed, the baby hair is done. As you guys can see, the texture of the hair is still bomb. It has not ruined the texture at all. Everything is beautiful. The hair is nice and bouncy, and again, I'm loving it. Be sure to let me know if you enjoy me leaving a lot more content in the video. Again, I try to cut it down and get it to about 10 minutes in length when it comes to my videos, so that you're not just watching for hours. But you know, again, I feel like some people may be more visual with the learning process, and they might appreciate just leaving in a lot more clips. What I did so far is I went ahead and pressed out the lace area so that everything lays a little bit more flat and appears a lot more natural. As you guys can see on the tips of my fingers, the hair dye color does transfer a little bit. It's not extreme, but you definitely get the transfer, which is to be expected if you get a wig that is dyed a specific color, especially on the red side. I'm using a mousse to go ahead and style and set the hair. Now I do use a good amount just because throughout the week I'll be able to go in and just spray a little bit of water to the length of the hair and touch up my hair without having to go in and reapply product. I don't know if that works for you guys, but it definitely works for me. That way Monday through Friday I'm able to just go in, wet it down when I get out of the shower, and let the curls pop, or waves in this case, and then I can go in and co-wash it once a week for maintenance. And as you guys can see, I did not get any extreme fallout or shedding. It was nice, normal, and natural, and the curls are super defined. Now this is a look at what the baby hair looks like. Now I did go in extreme with the baby hair, and I do not recommend you going in an extreme amount of baby hair if that is not your taste. But again, I like to switch it up and have fun with mine, so this was just about preference. Now I'm taking my Fenty concealer in the shade 420. This is almost my skin tone. It's like a shade maybe too lighter for a little bit of a pop. I love to use this under the eye, but today we're going to just be using it in the parting. Now this I took with a super fine, I believe this is the eyeliner brush, and you guys can see the color came out amazing, but it's a little bit too thin. So I'm going to go back with the powder on top of that and make the parting appear to be a little bit more opened up. You can also go in and tweeze out the parting and open it up, but I just don't recommend that if you're not comfortable with using the tweezers. And I am using my foundation brush to go in and buff out that hairline to be a little bit more natural. Now you guys can see what I did here. If you feel like you want it to be a little bit more brown, go in with that same foundation powder along the hairline and make it look a little bit more natural. Now you guys can see the parting was a little bit too thin, so I'm taking a powder product to go ahead and make it appear a little bit more wide. Now I'm going to add a little bit of mousse to the crown of the head. This is going to kind of help to get rid of some of that powdery look and lay down all of the flyaways, if any. Now you guys can see I'm just zhuzhing up, fluffing up the hair, and everything looks beautiful. I don't know if I mentioned, but this one is 180% density. Everything about this one is absolutely beautiful. YGwigs did give me a coupon code for you. It's Ashley20. You enter that at checkout and you'll get $20 off. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to check the description box for a link to shop this wig, as well as links to everything I used to achieve this look. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying all of the content. I'm trying to get videos up daily for you guys. It's been rough, but we're gonna make it, right? Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, turn on your post notifications so you never miss a video from me again. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Smooches!